All right, so little last minute kind of video on what's been going on with the videos. So what I ended up doing, well, I took and I figured out like, all right, so here's my little effects, my little effects auxes, for guitars. So if I was to come here, just give me a little, sorry, I'm kind of a little discombobulated. Where is it? Oh, did I get rid of the tracks? Oh, I did. Okay, well, wait a second. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're back to this little Tonex thing here. Right, with the drums, right? So yo diggity. Okay, so what I did was I've updated my guitar template to get rid of all this reamping, the SIRS, and just simplify. So it's just guitar. It's just a pair of guitar, two pairs of auxes. One has the two mics for the slant cap. Two has and then there's two for the two mics for the matchless cab, and then they can just bus over to whatever tracks. I just have guitar G1, 2, 3, G2, G2 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. But then at the end of that, I've now put this, and I've taken all of these inputs and I've put them as buses on the track. Like, so if you're looking here, like here's Ping Pong, which is the first one, a guitar plate, because I know I have an old one on there, Guitar Ver, which is just that little plate. H3000, which is H3000. Chorus, which is the Brigade. And then I have Dimension, which is Studio D, Dimension D, whatever. And then the last one is just Helix, and it's just an open Helix, which this will turn this off, but it's just an open, basically like a little rack. I can put whatever I want. So these are going to be what I'm going to be working with. And I mean, obviously, on the fly, I can switch out things. I've got, a couple of other choruses, but I like that. I like really the Brigade chorus, and this Studio D is really nice. I mean, H3000 is cool too. They're all cool, and then the repeater here. So, but what I did was I added this into the guitar template. So now when I pull the guitar template in when I'm writing songs or producing, I'm going to pull these effects in and start kind of doing a little bit more, kind of getting my own vibe, pre-mixing, whatever, So each guitar track has what's on this Tonex track. Each guitar track has, a fader for Ping Pong, for guitar plate, for H3000 down the line, and they're all at zero. They're all at the bottom. So then I can just bring them up, and then they're already there. And you can switch around plugins. But this is cool. And then in Pro Tools, if I go to I/O, I switch to a new I/O, which is my I/O, and I change it to 2025. Which, if you look here, everything's named. All my stuff is named. And then you come down to the bottom here, past the last one that I had, which was the guitar sub, which with the wow thing, the widener. I just skipped one, give a little breath, and then I've got Ping Pong, guitar plate, H3000, chorus, Dimension, and Helix. So these now are here. So if I was to open up my buses, and you come down, and there you go, Ping Pong, guitar plate. So I can, and the thing too, I wanted to just double check is that I can also add these stereo buses onto like a mono guitar, like here. So if I just have because what I did too is I put these on all of the guitar tracks, so that they'll be on the guitar tracks, but then also I did it in the mixing template on the guitar subs, so I can start to manipulate separate tracks more, instead of grouping everything and always just putting a I don't know, not being lazy is really what it is. So there's that. So I don't know if you guys know how to do that in Pro Tools. You probably do. I mean, if you're in Logic or Cubase, it's probably a similar thing. This is the other thing. So I was going through all my Les Pauls. Like this is like the last thing on the list of like, I just want to see, you know, I've got the Epiphone that has the has a Duncan Custom 59 Hybrid in the bridge pickup. My black one has that old WB Fire, which was the one I liked from the pickup shootout from like 22 years ago in Hollywood. Is anybody that OG and they remember that? I put 22 pickups and recorded it in my Les Paul in one day. My black Les Paul. We had done this thing where we had a special bridge that just popped up, and then we prepped all the pickups with alligator clips, and you know, it still was a process, and you tune it up, and then I tracked, and then Dan, the guy that played with me at the time at the studio, tracked. But this was the one I like, which now it seems a little kind of dark. I don't know. The Epiphone with the Duncan's a little more lively, and then I've got the WCR, which is also, it kind of sits between those two. That doesn't matter. But in the midst of this, I had these 4 DI tracks that I had done of the 4 Les Pauls, and then I just ran them down. The first one here, I'll just use the black Les Paul. This is the Ecstasy in Channel 2. This is the Ecstasy in Channel 2. Which is nice. I think I had the EQ on the guitar. I would have rather tracked that straight, but I didn't. Now here's the same Les Paul into the and then the same, and these are all exactly the same tracks, same black Les Paul into the 800. You know, I put the 800 up for sale, so I just was like double checking. And you know what? I think it is the right move. And what's funny is my son came in the studio, my long-haired sousaphone tuba playing son, and I said, hey, I want to play you these two things and tell me what you think. It's the same guitar and the same performance, but it's into 2 different amps. And I said, guitar, here's amp 1, and I played him the 77, and then here's amp 2, and I played him the 800, and I played it back and forth a couple of times, and then he's like, I'm like, it's the same type of amp. So, you know, I said, if you don't have like that kind of an ear, you might not hear anything. He's like, well, he says, one thing, the part where you do your hand, you go like, he says, I can hear that more on the amp 1, which is 77. And I was like, oh, okay, this is really good stuff, right? So he's talking about this. Like, yeah, that I like the way that sounds. He says, I don't hear that. Here's amp 2, which is the 800. Because it's got more like, it's like a little more flub, a little more body. And then the 77. The 77. Yeah, so you can hear it. I love that. And, you know, if you guys are following me, you know I'm always talking about that. Like that pick attack. Like, I think it's just so important. And that's what gets lost a lot in the high gain stuff. Everything, the strings are everything just feels too thick. They're drop tuned. They're using 11s or 12s. You know, they're using these super thick picks. And they're all these amps with all this saturation and everything. You lose this right here, where you can really I can imagine that I'm not the guitar player. I can like literally see the guitar player right in front of me, right? And then this is the same exact guitar, same thing through the 800. And it's really great, but anyway, that was his surmise or summation or whatever. So anyway, we're gonna listen to this one little time, and any last, I don't know. I hate that I have to dump stuff, but my room is 400 square feet. Like, it's small, so I just can't have anything unnecessary in here. So here is Into the 77. And here's the 800. 77 is better for what I do. You know, if I was like in some like bone crushing rock band, or I did that kind of music, then I would be probably like, oh, the 800 will be better. But man, I mean, I'm doing stuff that sounds like Lainey Wilson and, you know, Shawn Mendes and stuff like that. You know, it's almost, some of it's almost more funky. So again, here's the 800. And 77. So anyway, that's it. Tomorrow I'm back on it. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm working out. We're going to church. We're going to get my son to DBAT. We've all got to get back our mojo, man. I'm telling you, everybody's been home sick all week. My wife and my youngest son both have COVID. My oldest son has been in bed for 4 days. He's testing negative for COVID, but I don't know, you know, they're having this thing called RSV. It's like a respiratory infection here. I don't know, but we're all on the mend though. But man, you know, having kids in school is tough, you know, and then, you know, being older too, you know, it's not like I'm 34 and, you know, I've got, I don't know. So anyway, there it is. That's it. That's all I got.